7 things you should never tell your recruiter. Or at a minimum, keep your mouth shut. Think about it before you say it. And I know quite a bit about recruiting, so there's a lot of folks out there I think are giving you some bad information. Recruiter's job is to get you signed up, get you through MEPS, and get you to basic training. How they get you there can be lots of different ways, first of all. Second of all, they're a salesperson, right? They're a car salesman. Good guys. Been involved with lots of it. I understand it. But their job is to sell you on the branch of the military that they represent. They're going to get these guys acquainted with MOSs. There's some stuff they're just not going to know about. They're going to be able to read the description like you would and say, here's the job. So do yourself a favor and do some homework on this. Don't expect these recruiters to know everything about every MOS that's in the Marine Corps, for example. So let's get that on the table before we talk about the 7 mistakes people make talking to the recruiter. Things you shouldn't just tell them, right? And you should not tell the recruiter. And I'm not saying lie. I'm just saying keep your mouth shut. There's a lot of crap going around the internet, around YouTube in particular, about this. And I want to demystify with the truth. The first thing is you're not a doctor. And unless you've been diagnosed by one, or you are a doctor, you don't know if you had asthma. Your bumps and bruises are part of life. Don't get into every problem you've got because they're going to have to document this. Again, don't lie, but you don't need to get into every time you wheeze when you were 3 years old. Your mom told you about it. So remember, unless it's been put into a chart or you've been diagnosed with it, you don't have it. Again, don't lie. Use common sense here. Don't make this into a problem that it's not by when you get to MEPS, all right? That's number 1. Number 2 is you tell the recruiter, I just want to get out of this S-hole town I'm in. I want to leave as soon as possible. They can do that. They will get you on and get you in a job, get you in an MOS. But it may not be what you want, right? So if you want to leave as soon as possible, by all means, go at it. But don't tell them that. They're going to get you whatever job fits the bill to get you in the military, to get you shipped out, to get their quota met, so they can get on to the next thing and get promoted. So don't tell them that. Even if you want to, try to keep, again, this goes back to point 0. Keep your mouth shut and think before you speak, okay? It's really important. I wish I could tell myself this looking back. Number 3 thing, similar to part 1, it's not documented in your medical chart or in a legal record somewhere. There's no record of it. It didn't happen. You don't need to go into every time you stole oranges from the neighbor's tree or the time you think you remember smoking pot. If you haven't popped positive for it, it's not a medical record, not a legal record. Maybe keep it to yourself, keep your mouth shut. Again, I'm not saying lie. Gauge brain before gauging mouth sometimes, and this is going to get you a lot further with this stuff. You can create more problems for yourself if you get into every time you did something that's going to, smoke pot or did a drug, going to go down the path of another waiver problem and maybe create problems for you. So think about that before you speak to the recruiter. 4th thing is, remember, the recruiters aren't your friends. They're not your buddy. You don't need to tell them every personal problem you got. Every girlfriend problem, every potential domestic issue, every girl you knocked up. You don't have to lie to them. Just answer the questions with a yes or no answer. You don't have to expound and get into long details about it. That can create problems because the list of stuff that may be an issue for these recruiters, or an issue for you to get in the military, you don't know. It's a moving target. Okay, so keep your mouth shut about your personal problems. If you got them and it's enough an issue, you feel like got to tell them. You don't want to lie to these people. Again, but you don't need to expound on stuff that's just not relevant to you joining the Navy. Number 5 thing you don't want to tell the recruiter is to go tell them to F off because you don't like the information they're giving you. These guys, again, are trying to get you in. They're dealing with a young man or woman who really don't know much about the military beyond the internet. They're trying to educate you on it. Don't go tell them to F off. You're going to go from the Navy to the Army. These guys work in a small spot. They talk. There's no reason. If you don't like your recruiter, keep your mouth shut and maybe you go to a different recruitment office, right? But you don't want to get into a combative situation with a recruiter. It's going to make it more difficult for you. There are people trying to make a quota, trying to do a job, that 3-year sentence recruiter to get promoted to the next level inside of their career field. Don't get in a combative and tell your recruiter to go, F off because you don't like what they're telling you, right? They want to get you in. They're on your team, but you may not like the answer. So think about that You not liking the answers doesn't mean you should get into a screwed up situation with your recruiter. Seventh thing you shouldn't tell your recruiter is, I only want this one specific job. I'm not saying you got to sign for another job or sign a contract for it. But if you only want one specific job, that's it. It's going to limit your ability. It may not be availability in that job. It may come up later. So all of a sudden the recruiter realizes he's dealing with someone that's rather difficult to deal with right off the bat. I'm not saying sign a contract for someone. If you want to be an artilleryman, sign a contract for a cook. But I'm saying be open to the career field. It may be avionics, and you want to work on jet engines, but there's something to work on jet electronics. You may go, huh, cool. Because you probably don't know about all the stuff available. Get into your career field. If you clearly don't want to do the infantry, combat arms, you want to do logistics, supply logistics, okay, but there's probably so many jobs inside of there that you don't even know about. So don't tell your recruiter, hey, this is the only job I want, because you probably don't know all the jobs that are available in the military. Here's a bonus tip what not to tell a recruiter. I've seen some people do, and I've heard this from recruiting commands. Get into all your family mental history problems. If your mother is a chronic alcoholic and your dad's a total basket case, maybe you want to leave that off the table. Again, if it's not diagnosed in a chart, it says these things, or you're a medical doctor, you really don't know. So maybe keep that to yourself, because the last thing you want to do if you want to go in the military is create more boxes and waivers you got to get there.